If a system consistently generates excessive wealth for the few and persistent hardship for the many, at what point do we stop calling that system successful? For a majority of my childhood, my mother and I were below the poverty line. And that teaches you something that political theory from any book cannot. That nobody, regardless of the decisions in their lives, deserves to struggle for what should be guaranteed. Now, I swear this is relevant, but I'm really into philosophy. You can ask my mum, for that matter, any family member of mine, and they will tell you about all the times that I've annoyed them with some new idea which I found interesting. One thing you learn very quickly in any branch of philosophy is that the most important part of a statement is not the conclusion, but the reasoning by which that conclusion has been reached. I bet you're wondering, how is this at all relevant to my topic? Or, dude, why should I care? Well, today, I want to prove to you that capitalism as a system is entirely incompatible with equality through philosophical rationality. To begin with, I'm sure we are all familiar with deductive reasoning, even if we don't know it by that name. It is a logical structure where the conclusion flows from the premises. So, if your arguments are correct, your conclusion must be too. An example I can think of off the top of my head would be something like, all humans are mortal, everyone in this audience is human, at least I assume so, therefore everyone must be mortal in this audience. Relating back to my topic, I would like to present to you a simple argument against capitalism, which focuses on the way wealth is gained under its control. We all know that when we work in order to earn money, we are literally selling some of our time in exchange for payment. And if you own no other assets, then your ability to work is the only way you can earn money. But what if you do earn assets? Let's assume, or let's imagine a scenario together. Imagine two people with the exact same education and the same scores and the same experience and initially the same job, with the only difference between the two being that one inherits a small business and the other does not. You would assume in 10 years or so that the one who inherited the business would be the wealthier of the two. And you would be correct. That is because the inheritor has multiple streams of income, which can be invested into more ways of making money, meaning that their wealth can compound over time. The other person, however, has only one way of making money, their ability to work, which is tied to their time and to their health. If we include necessities like food, water, adequate shelter, transport, and actually living, it is impossible for them to gain the same amount of wealth as the other person. That doesn't seem fair to me. To summarize, if you don't own assets, your only way to make money is through selling your time and labor for wages. If you do own assets, like a business, those assets can generate you wealth. And you can use that wealth to make even more money. Two people can work just as hard, possess the same skills, but if one owns an asset, they will often get ahead of someone who owns only their labor. This is known as class theory, developed by a very cool guy called Karl Marx. He argues that if there is a gap, an inherent gap, between people who own things and people who do not, how can we honestly say that we live in a fair system? The idea that hard work will result in success is something we have all heard before. Work hard and you succeed, don't and you fall behind. And I think that is very true in so many parts of our lives. Effort matters in school. I think we all know that. Effort matters in learning new skills. Effort matters in relationships. It matters in so many parts of our lives, but the question remains to be, does it fully explain wealth? Because if it did, the hardest working people amongst us would be the wealthiest. And we all know that's not true. I volunteer at the Community Companion Van at our school. It is a food and outreach van which gives necessities to people who need it the most. Some of the people there are the kindest, most hard-working people you will ever meet. Some of them are working 2 jobs. Some of them are raising kids on their own. Some of them are doing everything society has told them to, trying again and again. And if effort alone determines security, then they wouldn't be asking for basic needs. Now, I bet you're wondering, what do you want me to do about it? Truthfully, there is not much an individual can do against a global economic system. But I want you to do one thing for yourself, regardless if you agree or disagree with me. I want you to understand what inequality really looks like. To see it for yourself, not through definition, but by experience. Volunteer. Make a meaningful change in the world. Because the first step to big change is for all of us to see the problem. Thank you.